Hey, what's up, everybody? I have a really awesome episode today. We just got done with talking about the new Game of Thrones episodes, talking about Game of Thrones, but I have, of course, Joey Dicarlo and Alex Stewart today. Go ahead and say hi, guys.
Hey everyone.
Hello.
Of course, Joey doesn't have a camera, but Alex we got on cam, so you can look at him and me. I'll just kind of trade off between there. But of course, we're going to talk about deck building today. This, of course, is I think going to be episode 4 of Deck Daddies, if you don't include the lost episode with Miguel and Brandon Biggers. So that was, a big unfortunate. But anyway, I have my same list of questions as always. Might throw something in there, but either way, we're going to ask both these guys about their deck building and let them introduce themselves real quick. So go ahead, Alex, if you want to introduce yourself first.
All right. Hi, y'all. I'm Alex Stewart. I play around Slidell, Louisiana. I play in a lot of the southern tournaments. Recently, I've been playing Blue Aggro, and it's been working out for me. I started playing around right when Fan Z came out, so I'm kind of new. But
He's a young man. And you've topped a couple of tournaments, haven't you already? I think I know you got second
yeah,
place, right?
I've been top 8 at a couple. I was in Worlds last year. I beat Miguel in the first round, but then I lost to Daniel in the second round to his tag Bobbity. And I've topped at South Kai, Supreme Kai. I topped at Supreme Kai 2 years in a row. A couple tournaments here and there, a couple fourth places around there. I haven't gotten to a finals or a first place yet. So I'm working on it.
Right on. It's okay. I haven't got a first place myself, so if it makes you feel any better. And Joey, introduce yourself, my man.
Hey guys, this is Joey Dicarlo. I play in the southern area and I work on Fanzy and worked on Pansy and a few other games as well.
Right on. I think pretty much if you're watching this video, you probably already know who Joey is, but I won't. We're saving his face for security reasons. You don't need to identify him. But
It's got a top secret.
yeah, no, but but anyway, of course, both these guys topped multiple tournaments in the South. I know both of them. Sorry, I know Joey hasn't played in TOP because he is a developer, and he's probably the most vocal guy that we hear from all the time. And I know everyone's always trying to get his attention, but both these guys, of course, showed themselves very skilled players. And so I figured, everyone talks about the different regions, and so of course today is going to be the South, specifically Louisiana. We'll probably hit up another area, probably hit Texas up, maybe a couple of the other areas, but because it's just such a big area. But anyway, talking a bunch, we're gonna hop into the actual stuff everybody wants to hear about. So of course we're gonna go up into my chat here, and perfect. I have my questions right here, so I don't have to look at my phone. But so we're gonna start with Joey here, and then we'll rotate halfway through. We'll get Alex first. But Joey, for your first question, man, where do you start when you're deck building? Do you look at do you start with the MP? Do you start with the mastery?
Yeah, I think it has to start with the personality. Then you pair naturally with maybe a few masteries and see which one you can sort of work out to function the best for you. But definitely step 1 and 2 with the Dragon Ball game is, you got to get your personality layout, get the levels you're going to use, and then get the mastery depending on what your strategy or goal is. You have to. Those are 2 huge parts and probably game design defining parts of the Dragon Ball game. So you have to start there, in my opinion.
Start with MP. Yeah.
MP and then mastery pairing. So
For sure. Alex, what about you, man? Where do you start when you're building?
So it kind of depends on what I'm going for. Like if I'm building an Ascension deck, you really only do one thing with Ascension. There's some cool other Ascension decks like the Ascension Yamcha that Kevin Dennis runs, but generally you're just angering. So if I'm thinking about building a deck like that, then I'll think, okay, what's the best MP I can put into this mastery to use what it does? But then there's other times where I'm thinking like I take an MP or a what's the character? And I try to find which mastery works best for it. That's usually characters who can fit into like multiple different things, but there are some characters that you can only fit into one deck with one mastery.
So would you say you just kind of depends, like you're kind of all over the place with what you start with?
Yeah, usually I don't really start with one. I usually start with decks by thinking of the Mastery MP combo, and then go from there. Like, I think, okay, I don't really think about just which one I want to do first. It's usually the two of them together, the MP and the Mastery at the same time.
Gotcha. Okay, fair enough. Interesting. Yeah, I think I probably go more often than not with the MP myself, but I definitely always. There's definitely MPs that I feel like you see them and you instantly pair them up with a master in your head. You don't even have to think very hard. You're like instantly like, oh, so and so with like let's say like Adept or something. You instantly think like, oh, physical beats MP, Gohan, or something, but. Yeah, I think probably I'd argue the MP is probably the most important thing. I think that's what really, because it's like what you're saying, the Ascension. It's like, Ascension all plays the same, but the one MP might make it play very different. So definitely something to keep in consideration with deck building, I think.
Ascension Boo.
Ascension Boo. Oh man. Yeah. Speaking of that deck, that's we'll get onto that deck in a sec, I think, but. So Joey, do you look at the numbers when you're deck building? And by that, I mean, do you always kind of have a layout for blocks or
Yeah, I usually stick around. I usually stick around the same block attack sort of percentages, dead card percentages. I don't factor endurance in almost at all.
Really?
Endurance is more ancillary to me. It's if there's two cards that grade out sort of equally and one has more endurance, then I'll go with that one. But I'm never trying to reach a certain endurance count, and the game has so many ways to shut off prevention. I think it's maybe the most overrated thing that people look at. I think it's good. It's not a bad mechanic, but I think it's overrated.
That's that's the thing. Everyone, it just depends on who you talk to. But when it's like I had Shane Runels and Anthony Tordino on, Kevin Dennis, we're all talking about how much we love endurance, and then I get your answer. That's great.
To be fair, though, all three of those players play decks that really get destroyed by crits. The
way I look at it is, I don't think Orange Energy Catch was in a deck of mine until Fanzy.
Really?
And that card's
oh man,
was super played by people, and when Michael and them did the promos, I saw it as a promo, and I just looked at it
yeah, I run it because it's a promo.
I know early on in testing and gunslinging with Pansy, I would always play the I can't remember the name of it. There's a block with one endurance that gained in anger. And
energy absorption.
Yeah, and it was an immediate slot in over energy catch for me because the stages only sort of fucking hurt you.
Yeah.
You match up, so it's I can have 2 more endurance and an effect that's gonna hurt me, or I can have something that gains me resources and just prevents less damage.
Yeah.
I'd rather the resources.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean that was for me. I still put that card in probably almost every orange deck I play, just because the endurance 3 is so hard for me to look away from. Honestly, it's very hard. There's only a handful of decks that I don't probably drop that card in, and
I don't even think I ran that in my my orange Goten that I played throughout the first OP season.
Jesus, dude, Goten without that card? What are you nuts?
There's better energy blocks. I'd rather Dismissal.
Wait, you originally only ran one flea in that deck, right?
No, I ran Flea over it. That's right. I ran 2 or 3 fleas though.
Yeah, Flea is so good, but damn, I forget about that. I always forget about it until every once in a while someone will play an Adept deck with it, but I forget about that card all the time.
Flea's nutty, so it's nutty effect or mild physical enhancement.
I mean,
I'll take the ability to get a double drill tutor.
Bicycle kick,
double bite kick or double uppercut. Double uppercut's the best.
Double uppercut into double bite kick. Oh my God. Ridiculous.
Or you can play a card that has 3 endurance. It's really they're about equal in overall game swing. So
I mean, yeah, okay, well, yeah, and you know what? Here's the Orange Flea is a great example of a block that we haven't talked about in other videos, like Blue. I always bring up Blue Brace being one of those cards between Blue Brace.
Yeah, Blue Brace.
It's another card. It's and Alex plays a lot of resourceful. He knows all.
I do, yes. Yeah. My favorite mastery.
But Blue Brace is one of those cards that I have a hard time fitting in because it doesn't. And It's such a good card, but damn, and like not having endurance, just like.
Are you no,
ugh.
dude? Blue Brace is a block that turns into an attack for like +5, gain an anger. Stop.
Yeah.
Or blue stylish pose.
What's
Like
that? There's one blue block that every time I see it in a deck, it just brings genuine anger to my heart. Like, I can't think of the name of the card. It's a set 7 card. It's just a block that lowers 2 anger and has endurance.
Oh,
Deterrence.
deterrence.
Like,
Yeah.
I like deterrence.
Oh my
That
god.
card has no place. Fuck that card.
What? Oh my god. That card is like.
I
I
don't
don't
see
know.
how
That
I
card
do
is an
not see how
auto.
that card makes a cut.
Anger's really strong.
Yeah, there's better anger cards.
Well, but defensive anger hate's so good though, and on
Sure, no, I'm not
the
gonna
endurance.
take that away from it. Stop with the endurance.
Oh
Let's be
man.
No,
anti-endurance.
I don't run it because of the endurance. I run it because of the lower anger. Too.
Oh, I run it
The
'cause of the-
endurance is a nice touch.
I
It's a
mean,
super average card in my opinion.
it's like
Like I can't compare it to like a leverage or even the block that kills the setup or drill.
can we agree that blue is the hardest style to pick from your blocks because all
Yeah.
the blocks are
That
so
one is
good.
rough. Or
Blue
the
has
Namekian
a
blocks are
very,
good
very
too.
block chain. The Namekian does as well. Orange does as well. Those 3 have really
Yeah.
high end block.
I wouldn't even throw Namekian in there. There was a time that I would have ran like any. There was a time that like okay, it's like energy catch, or what? Yeah, or what the hell's the one that?
I think they've just had the same really good blocks for so long.
Yeah, I
The-
just use the same blocks on every deck.
Yeah, the one that you pretty much use the same ones for everyone. Even like the radiance to knowledge to restore to inlane, they all use generally the same blocks. I felt. I don't know. I guess the hardest part me for
I think
Namekian.
those Namekian blocks have been so good for so long that people just sort of sleep on it. But there's a reason like why they're not getting like tier 1 blocks coming out with it.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, the physical blocks in Namekian are where I have the hardest time picking because they're all so good.
Yeah.
The energy ones, I'm like a bit more. There's a bit more.
No, their physical is definitely stronger than their energy blocks.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's how I think in general a lot of the game is that the physical blocks were better than the energy blocks.
Blue is one of the few styles that has really, really high end energy blocks. Probably
Yeah.
next, blue and red have the better energy blocks.
Yeah.
Well, red blocking hand though. That's a really good card.
Well, yeah, that's true. Well, reds are pretty.
Oh,
Well, yeah, reds
Red
are
is
pretty.
escape.
Red has an energy block that
Red
gains you a
escape.
level. Yeah, like come
Yeah,
on.
forget about
that's
it.
really good. Yeah, you're
Red
right.
escape, the fancy blocks are really, really strong for red.
Yeah, you did the endurance bad. All right. Okay. Well, Alex, what about you, man? Do you check out the numbers when you're deck building?
Well, I always try to fit 6 physical, 6 energy, 3 omni blocks in all of my decks. Other than that, I don't really look at the numbers too much. Sometimes, if I feel like a deck is not aggressive enough, because I play a lot of beatdown, if I feel like a deck isn't aggressive enough, I'll check the planning count and then see if I need to drop planning cards. But and then I do small things like based on how many allies I run changing the amount of blue stylish pose that I run, things like that. But for the most part, I just try to get the 15 blocks, and then other than that, it's just free game for the rest of my slots. Whatever I think is good. Oh, I don't count endurance either. I just kind of try to get it where I can and then roll with the punches.
That's fair. I don't know. I'm so. That's the thing. You guys are both like that. You're like, endurance, okay. I'm just like, endurance is the most important thing when I'm looking. I always try to have like 40 endurance if I can. I just love endurance so much. I just hate getting bum rushed, but I don't know.
Well, it also depends on how many blocks you play. I've usually
That's
played
true.
a relatively strong block line, like Alex was saying, 15. That's probably about my average. I feel I run enough blocks. There are enough ways to cycle cards throughout my hand that the endurance is less impactful early on. I mean, you're gonna know what decks are capable of like fucking running through you in an early turn anyway. Odds are it's a physical deck. Odds are that deck's running dig or some other way to mitigate prevention or endurance already. So
Yeah.
depends.
There was a resourceful Majin Vegeta that topped at a tournament I saw a while ago who ran 3 dig and then 3 static shot, or maybe it was 2 static shot. So like, just you can't use endurance against that guy.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, even still, I think I just my biggest thing with running blocks with no endurance is that you play into a matchup where the block is dead. Like you don't draw it, or it's like, oh, I'm against a physical deck. I don't need energy blocks. So all my these energy blocks that have no endurance are just free cards off my deck that are gonna get hit. And that's like why I don't. That's why I like to have. That's why when it comes to blocks, if they're not an Omni, I want them to have endurance because I want.
I don't dislike endurance. It's just hard. Like I can never. It's never a defining factor in what block I select. It's more of a side note. It's not like the effects are close. And it's like, oh, well, this can do this. This can do this.
Yeah.
It's like 1A versus 1B. Then endurance is like a kicker for me. It just never is like a determining factor.
Yeah.
It would have to have some like insane endurance value, and have like a general utility, not be not just lower someone's anger. Whatever that card is. No defensive effect. Yeah, there we go. Like,
Oh man.
so if it was like a super high, 4+ endurance on like a block, then I guess it's
Oh fuck! There's this
Thing.
fucking spider. I've just been sorry. I'm just like watching this spider just like crawl around my fucking room the entire time, and it just dropped like right onto my computer. And I don't know
kill
where
it,
the fuck.
man.
I
Take
don't,
it out.
I'm looking for it. I'm like, where the fuck did it go? I think it dropped in my water actually.
It's okay. You have endurance. You can get
I can endure this hit.
exactly.
It didn't fall in my water. It felt like I don't know where the hell it went. I think it slinked back up or it went behind my. Okay, well anyway, I've just been watching that thing fuck around my room the last like 10 minutes, and then it's just been fucking up and down above my head. I'm just like, all right. Anyway, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying it. It shouldn't be the end all be all, but it is for me. I guess it ends up being for me.
Yeah, I mean, every
That's
player
fair.
can have a different way of evaluating different parts of the game.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely. What about dead cards? What do you guys feel about the dead, like the set planning card? How do you feel about the planning cards, Joey?
I usually try not to go too high on them, and I mean, I usually play decks that involve them. But if it's, I see decks like over 20, and I think that's sort of crazy. I think that's just like trying to ensure death to like a Majin Vegeta or something.
Oh my god, I hate when people.
Like the game's fast paced. Like it's a fast paced game, and some people run like 20+ plan step cards, and somehow works for them. But I guess it's a smaller player base now with Fanzy versus Pansy, so it's. I guess you kind of know what your area is going to bring more so.
Yeah.
So if you can sort of get away with that high of a count in certain areas, and some areas you can't. So. I think
Yeah.
that's
That was one thing that Kevin. I was talking to Kevin Dennis a bunch about when he went down to the South Kai, I think, right? Did you
Yeah.
guys-
Mhm.
Yeah. And I know it was like him, Kevin, and Wayne.
Wayne and Anthony.
Okay, it was those
Yeah,
four
you
guys.
know.
And they were just talking about how different you guys play versus what they're used to. Because all the, like you said, like as far as like what you can get away with, you guys in the South, when I always look at your list, it's a bunch of aggro. Everyone's playing.
All
like,
aggro, yeah.
Everyone's playing aggro. Then you look at the East, and you got people playing. Like you look in the Northeast, you see a bunch of people playing like control and mid range, and like ally and blue protective is like what you're seeing. Then you go, and it's like Midwest. Traditionally, you have some people playing ball, but Midwest was like a lot of. Has always been like I feel like a lot of beats and anger. Generally, is what we like mid range too. I would never say control lead though. Like aggro mid range, and then each region's different, so I think that's fair as far as the deck choices. Like Daniel, we'll talk about Daniel at some point. Yeah, I've seen his list running like 20 cards, and he runs like 4 fucking physical blocks. And I'm like with Android 20 amp, I'm like, how are you alive? But he's beaten me, so I don't know.
Yeah. Eric Mung, he runs like no blocks too. And sometimes it works for him. I don't know.
Who?
He runs like Eric Nung.
Oh, Eric,
Or-
yeah.
His oppressive decks run like 10 or maybe less than 10
Yeah, I
blocks.
think the one he won with was 7. I think
He
it was
was.
7
I was gonna
blocks.
say yeah. I think he ran like 3. I think he ran like 3 or 4 omnis, including time, and then like 2 dedicated of each at best. And that's what he. Yeah, he just cleaned house.
And like sometimes I play against him a lot on Octagon, and sometimes I play him and it feels like he gets his blocks and they like work for him, and then sometimes I just kill him in one turn because I enter and he has 0 blocks,
Yeah.
and then I stage lock him and he can't do anything. So it's like give and take, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, and definitely with those decks, he's got a lot of other answers to not necessarily need to run blocks with commenting and stuff and stage gain. But what about you? Well, how do you feel about dead cards, Alex?
I don't like them. I run in my decks because I play mostly aggro. I try not to run very many. I mean, there's some that you have to. For instance, if you're playing Bio Brawly and Saiyan, you have to run the Saiyan Enraged, right? You have to run Saiyan Menace, I feel like. So there are, like, I run Blue Biting Drill, 2 Blue Biting Drill in my Vegeta deck because it creates so much value. But I feel like also you can straight up lose a game off of drawing a drill early when you need to enter, and then letting your opponent draw 3 allies and set up, and then the game gets a lot harder.
Yeah.
So keep it really low.
Yeah, that was one thing about your Vegeta deck, is that you just ran so many planning cards in it, your resourceful one, and I looked at the list and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, dude's got setups, drills, and allies in Majin Vegeta, and I'm just like, what in the hell is going on with this thing?
But like 12 or 9 of my setups can get played from the hand. So, and then also if I draw them dead, I can pitch it for the mastery. So it's not like super awful, but I definitely cut down on it on the list since then. I got tired of playing against control, passing because I drew a drill, and then they play like 3 things on the board and I just lose. So I realized I needed to make it more aggressive.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's just all those things, I guess, were goofy. Let's see. Okay, we'll move on to the next question. So we talked about numbers a bunch. Talked about the endurance dead cards and such, and blocks. So what kind of decks do you prefer to build, Alex? I'll start with you on this one. What do you like to build?
I really like building beatdown generally. Just because I feel like there's so many different ways that you can build a beatdown deck, and it like you can really make it your own, and there's so many different styles and combinations of things that you can build. You can really play a deck that's built around your play style, which I like playing like mid-range, like being really aggro and putting a lot of pressure on someone, but also having utility for like the things that they could do to mess me up. And that's why I play mostly blue as well, because I really like having blue has such strong single cards that can just like really swing a matchup, like blue head knock, blue slide in certain matchups, blue takedown, stuff like that. It can just like win you a game. So usually blue aggro. That's what I like to play the most.
Yeah, I've definitely had my share of Octagon matches against some of your blue decks, including King Kai. So.
Oh, yeah. Wait, King Kai is not as bad as people think it is, by the way. That's all I'm going to say.
He just... Oh, man. Joey,
like, you get Blue Terror and Shenron.
Joey, I need you to play King Kai in the World Martial Arts Tournament now.
I'm pretty sure I could do better with him than 19. So, and I got either got top 4 or top 6, something like that with 19, which I don't.
Yeah.
I'm pretty shocked I pulled off, but...
Oh,
yeah, that was
like my personality doesn't have effects. I'm just gonna run 3 red restrictions and sort of work out.
Oh
genius.
my god, that's great. Yeah, I built a red like MPPV amplified one, and I actually won a couple games with it. Crazy enough, so it's cool. I don't know. I think like trying to go the attachment route is kind of a trap.
Yeah, it's like the most. It's like the least rewarding wins you'll ever get to, because.
No.
It's just like, oh.
You grind. You grind
Yeah.
pretty hard for those wins. It's fucking awful.
It's not. It doesn't even feel rewarding after. You're just like, oh, I guess I get this one. Like the most joy I got from playing 19 in that tournament was making like the just a really shitty meme in Paint with like the Rocky 4 scene with just Brawly getting punched out by 19.
Oh my god.
That's pretty much what I remember for that event. I was just making that meme.
Oh my god, yeah. That's... Yeah. Joey, what about you? What do you like? What do you like to build when you're deck building?
Well, most games, I think in general, I'm more of a mid-range player, but that's sort of hard to define in Z because mid-range can sort of leak both into control and into aggro, or not so much aggro, more tempo as well, because the game's not exactly on like a turn curve. But
That's like a mana gain or something.
yeah,
Like that. Yeah, that's fair. Well, I mean, board. I think board build up is an example. Like a deck a deck that is losing more to passing. I don't know. I mean, it's definitely. I definitely agree with you. That's a little blurry to define it, but I think it's relatively not. There's definitely. It's not just like all mid-range decks are the same. They're very different from each other. Like you can have ones that are
yeah,
controlly.
exactly.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I mean, I fall in that range. I usually run plain and step stuff, but I don't really go overboard on it. It's more things that'll capitalize on a turn, more so than trying to build up to something. So if it can be more immediate value, I'll probably go more into it than trying to build up a wall or something.
So more like resourceful.
Yeah,
And
resourceful.
adept.
I like adept a lot as far as playing and playstyle fit. Not necessarily great, but it's enjoyable. Red
That is a lot
build
of
like
fun.
red builds will like relax and bribe and things like that as well. Like Supreme Kai, small ally package is pretty nice. So there's a bunch of stuff that sort of is you're running the plan and stuff, but it's more for like progressing your turn output than setting up for like one huge turn.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. Yeah. I would argue I'm more of a mid-range player myself too. Like a lot of the decks that I liked. I like when I can build a deck now, especially nowadays playing because the game's so fast. I like having decks that can just blow up like turn one, like randomly, like the right hands. Like Maj Vegeta is like that with the right style. You know, like red, and I think. Honestly, I think kind of all the Maj Vegetas. Maybe not so much. I don't think the black
Yeah.
as much, but I think for sure the blue version and the red versions.
Yeah, I've killed people turn one multiple times. I mean, when you draw the heat as Majin Vegeta, it's kind of hard for them to slow you down.
Oh, dude. Yeah, you get up to 2 and resourceful, you can do some work. Getting
Mhm.
lunge and tempo going with him is pretty nutty.
Yeah, there was one game I played against Anthony Tardino when I actually got 0. It was at South Kai when we were both the only 2 undefeated left, I think, when we were playing in Swiss. And he was destroying me. I never hit him the entire game. I got 8 setups on the board. In the last combat, I had 2 life left. I timed and then killed him in 1 turn from full HP. He actually had like 45 cards left in his deck, and I killed him in 1 turn.
That's fucking gross. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a sad game for him. I drew time right at the end, and
No.
he got the work.
Oh man. Yeah, but I like when decks can do that. I like when decks have like that speed to them, but which is something I just like probably more came into later on in the game. But I've always liked the mid stuff. Like I really like decks that can that you can count the damage with. If you know what I mean, like you know that like a lot of unpreventable stuff, like mill. I like that kind of stuff because you like, oh, I know I'm gonna trade this much damage, and so how much damage can my opponent's deck put out? Like I like decks that like that give me numbers in their damage like consistently. If that makes sense, I don't know, but overall mid range is probably where I like the most. I hate running more than 15 planning cards.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Try to keep it 10 or below.
There's decks where I go over, but it's more. It all depends. Like, can the deck consistently cycle cards? If you can cycle cards or have a discard outlet, then you can sort of go up on, planning numbers. I think it's more justifiable that way because you can still sort of fight through them. Whereas decks that can't do that and they go into those really high numbers, I feel like it's more risk than it is reward at that point.
I think the big thing is tutors with that.
For sure.
Yeah, like.
That
was a conversation we had the last episode. Like Shane and Anthony were saying, like having tutors, which I totally like. Goten, Joey, you love Goten. I like Goten too.
I do love Goten.
Yeah,
he's
Very
so
fun.
He's so good, but he just kicking out drills like left and right with him.
Yeah, the fact that he does it in transition is pretty much what makes his stack good, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's yeah. Otherwise, yeah, that's pretty much it. Otherwise, his levels aren't too crazy. I mean,
And rock throw
Yeah, Rock Throw's a ton of fun.
can win you a game on its own for sure, easily.
See, I just haven't got around to building a Goten that I can run rock throw in.
The only one I really like it in is Adept, but he's probably better in red right now. But that's more red's just in a better place, in my opinion, than orange. So.
Yeah, I think red and PPV maybe beats. I mean, the beats isn't bad. It was good. It was good in set 10. I haven't tried it.
When it was like picking between beats anger builds, I preferred the Adept version because I thought it could do more like in combat than the red one.
Yeah.
If it's like a straight anger build, I think red's the way to go with it.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah, I think the orange one does a lot of damage because you just have so many modifiers and being able to kick them out so quick with Goten.
Right. And he doesn't care about transitioning because it's like, oh, well, the drills are coming back. In some cases, it's advantageous to level and lose the drill because you can bring back something big like a check-up. So.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's just got so many cool there's just so many cool combos with him in drills entering play that he gets. Just a lot of extra value to like orange. So, but I do like it. I haven't even played him in red since the set 12 dropped when they got Attitude Drill.
Mm-hmm.
And Celestial Strike was a card I was my deck. I've definitely thought of a couple different versions of that deck to build.
I think Ascension Goten is one of the 2 tier 1 anger decks.
It's pretty good. I'd put it up there.
I think it's comparable to Ascension Piccolo. It has less anger gain than Ascension Piccolo, but
it's more consistent.
Because you can pull out the Attitude Drill, and just that alone in the blue matchup makes it so much easier. Or any matchup, like saying stopping the 3 anger lower from burst can just win you a game, you know? But also, I feel like Ascension Piccolo pumps out a significant more amount of anger than Ascension Goten does, though. So
Ascension Piccolo is one of the burstiest decks in the game.
I think Ascension Piccolo definitely has more potential, but it's draw dependent versus Goten's like consistent, like grabbing your resources every level, and he's got consistent anger on his 1 and 2 versus Piccolo. Doesn't have any anger on him till you get like you can use the level 1 that gives you anger. You're not gonna. I mean,
Goten gets a better card pool to work with. Piccolo just gains anger better. At least that's how I view at it. Like, so if you want a better deck effect-wise, Goten's probably a better choice. I feel like Goten's almost like playing for top cut though, or Piccolo's playing for a win. If I'm comparing the two and like bringing something to a tournament.
Yeah, that's ultimately why I chose Goten. I thought he was just more consistent. I thought he was better.
Mm-hmm.
But alrighty, we're gonna move on to the next one. So we did kind of cover what we all prefer to build here. So let's see, Joey, I'm gonna ask you this one first. So, what do you think you could work on in your deck building?
It's hard to really tell. I think most people can't really pick apart what they do right or wrong. I think it's more of just a confidence thing, setting out. I think I don't really question myself too much on my calls, and it's worked out for me as a player in multiple different games. But I've always been someone that plays like 1.5 decks, or try to turn around and beat it. So maybe trying to focus on and making better tier 1 stuff if I'm deck building wise. But with Fantasy, it's hard too because I'm more concerned about having fun and interacting with the players. It's sort of off-site bonus if I get to win an event.
For sure. You've won 2 large events, haven't you? I think, right?
I won like one of the community level events I got to play in, I think, in the last season, and then I won South Guy this year, and I got, I think, 2nd at Alabama in last year, and top 4, I think, this year. I can't really remember.
You know what you should have
top
done?
4 or top 8.
Yeah, what you should have done is whatever you win with, you should just proceed to nerf CRD right after you win.
Well, I haven't played anything that I thought needed nerfs yet, but I'm sure people don't like Supreme Kai, but
Oh,
he's
dude, I
consistent.
bitch about Supreme Kai. I'm
I think he's fine. Like
I it's just his level
there's
one. Like
yeah
there's counters to him, but it's the level one is where I'm.
there's
It's just
better personality stacks out there. He's just a consistent personality stack.
I think his two is bad. Like I'm not
Yeah, it's just-
bad, but it's not
Yeah,
as good
yeah.
as his
It's
one.
not being able to camp the one for sure.
Yeah, you know. I don't know. I would be beating a dead horse for anybody who actually listens to me ever about the Supreme Court. I won't get. Yeah, I mean, it's just my level one where I'm like a little too strong, but he's
I
beatable.
mean, you look at like stacks like Majin Vegeta, or stacks like Awakening Goku, or the Frankenstein of a stack you can make out of Gohan, and like
Oh my god, go.
they're all up there.
Yeah,
I think I think Supreme Kai has a very high floor.
yeah,
Like
I would
sort of like
totally agree with that.
Goku, super high floor. But like I don't think his ceiling compares to some of the shit that like a Majin Vegeta or Gohan can do, even Deborah for that matter.
yeah, the brew is whack.
Deborah's ceiling is so fucking like crazy.
I don't know. See, I'm still in the camp that I think Black Deborah is the best one still, but that's me.
No.
I think
I
Black
don't know.
Deborah is good. I think Resourceful is really, really, really strong.
If I don't see Tree of Might in that deck, I hate my life with Resourceful Deborah because I get stuck on one so much with that deck. Alright, I need like an Unleashed or to Tree for that deck, and then if I do see that, then I'm rolling.
Yeah, Unleash feels really good. I don't know. I just with
I don't even
Deborah,
think I mind getting stuck on one with Deborah.
yeah. And it's like you're playing a character that is built around throwing attacks that draw into more attacks, and then you're putting it into a mastery that is built around using attacks that generate more attacks. So then if you just add modifiers in, you're throwing like 10 attacks of combat off of 4 cards in your hand, and then like, what do you do?
Yeah.
And like 4 of those attacks you have to block, and you have 1 block.
That's why I like Deborah in the game. Is
Makes
he's
you
sort of a
honest.
gatekeeper. He makes you play blocks. You have to play an honest game against him. You have to know how to block and not just like throw him out at anything. Because any deck that pushes like a heavy hit effect percentage is probably good for any meta because it's gonna keep block counts existent.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I've always been in the camp that Deborah is fine.
I think he's fine.
I
Yeah,
think he's fine too.
Even though he's like, yeah, oh boy, he drew opening hand nuts, but at this point, he's not the only MP that can do that. You can play orange or blue now and draw.
it's been like that since
cards.
Broly hit in
Yeah,
6.
honestly,
Yeah.
even you could even argue with Ginyu like OP attacks
Yeah.
3 devious or adaptive. There was just some like Fruit Loops shit going on there where you would just like open up with an uppercut and an OP attack and a Ginyu and a dig or whatever, and insert your combination of cards and you're just fucking stupid damage, all unpreventable or something. But I don't know. Yeah, I think for sure. I think especially set 6 was the moment where I would agree that like damage just got blown out the fucking gates. So at this point, I'm not even like upset when decks do fucking absurd damage. I just expect them to.
No.
So
I think we've done a pretty good job at keeping things around the level it was, if not slightly lower in set 7. Set 7 really set a direction the game was going to proceed in. And I think we've done good at sort of going more horizontal than vertical with design there.
yeah, I would say so. I think with a lot of the style cards that you all have developed, I'll just say specifically in the physical attack department. And maybe to a lesser, even to an extent, like some of these energy attacks that came out in the last set or two, just the multi-use ones and stuff, like Spirit Ball, Orange Quick Toss, all that kind of stuff. I think they've been good. I mean, what they've done is they've given more, because of their style, they've given more MPs the ability to compete with the MPs with the name cards that we're doing on the multi-attacks, which is nice, and the multiple actions. And it's definitely... I like that there's the speed in a lot of decks now to like finish the game quicker.
Yeah, we wanted to push energy a bit in the last set because at least I know design wise everyone thought physical was in pretty much a better place and definitely a more consistent place. So a lot of that stuff that would stick around would be like the or create more actions with energy, so that there'd be more sort of ebb and flow in between the physical and energy deck. Ideally, the energy deck has a way to recur stages to get attacks back in, and maybe if they pace themselves through a combat, it'll be more meaningful than the physical deck just like punching their face in for 20 because they didn't hit the right block. So just more outs versus that kind of opening, or more ways to sort of develop a bigger combat versus like a physical deck that has the ability to draw cards and hit stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I think physical didn't get any weaker. I think physical counters have always been there. It's just a matter of if you're gonna play them or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think a lot of people started to at different points, and then I think physical was in a spot where it's very. I think by the time at the end of set 11, people were very much teched for physical, but then set 12, people saw cards, and people just have wanted to just play energy for a long time again. And so people just have been playing a lot of energy, but I also haven't played a lot in the last like month plus. To be completely honest, I haven't played like very much since like the beginning of March. I played a couple games here and there, and then I played the OLT, and then I've been on kind of a break. I've just been uploading a bunch of old stuff, but I don't know what people are playing now. I know Alex still plays pretty regularly in Octagon.
Mm-hmm.
If people are still on an energy kick, or they're kind of diversifying.
People are playing Saiyan. I think Saiyan's the most played style right now.
Saiyan's on a huge upswing, at least from when I did like the sort of mid-season style layout. I think Saiyan has 2 event wins since then.
Yeah. Yep.
2 undefeated event wins with
Trunks
impressive.
Goku. Yeah.
Kid Trunks, Goku, and then Nappa.
Oh,
Yeah,
3.
that's
Yeah,
right.
3.
Don't
That Clenchy boy.
Oh man.
Big shout outs to Ty.
Yeah, no, that was pretty legit. Yeah, who was telling me they didn't run? Who went there? Oh, it was Jeff Sosa. He was saying, he's like, I just chose not to run any attachment hate. What do you know? I played against Clench Nappa and he kicked my ass. And no one played attachment hate. So Clench Nappa just fucking destroyed them all.
Some Boo should have been there, man.
Oh man. Ascension Boo, man.
I love that deck. I fucking love that deck.
Was it Zach Johnson? Did he play Amp or Ascension Boo?
Pretty sure it was Action off the top of my head.
It was like because he was playing like Boo Ball, Red Boo Ball.
Yeah, it was Anger Ball if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Do you like Ascension Boo Anger or Ascension Boo Ball?
Ball.
Why do people play Boo Ball?
Because he's Majin, so he gets concussive.
So you banish card to pull the ball, and then also you get so much rejuve.
Yeah, you can banish so he recurs really well, yeah. And he can concuss 2 panics off of 1 play. So it's like, I guess I'll go grab 2 balls.
Did they both search? I thought did they like just?
No, it would have to be the 1. Yeah, sorry, my bad.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say because me and Kevin Dennis have been talking about Ascension Majin Vegeta lately. That was a deck that, like the ball version, that was a deck that people joked about, but I never got past the. I have a list, and then I was just like, I'm just gonna do Trunks instead.
I played against that deck against Kevin. We played 3 games the other day. It's pretty good. It really struggles against crits, I think, but it's really explosive. I think it can win really fast.
Can we confirm a new discard or banish from the card? Can we get a new card, red card, banish it from the pile for a crit, please, Joey?
Maybe. We're still working on the next set right now. So
he runs that card.
I'm hoping that the Masteries this set turn out as good as they were in set 10. I was really happy with how those.
Oh yeah, I like those a lot.
Oh man, oppressive and mischievous, just like polarizing, but.
I'm happy with the overall results for sure. Because if you look at like Blue's been sort of doing well, Amp's performed really well. Orange had like a big moment. Initially after release, a lot of people were on top of it, like slept on it. Then it did really good with I think the Trunks build.
Yeah.
And
combative, yeah.
Yeah. So I think all those masteries outside of Enlightened have at least had like a time in the sun. Whereas and I don't even think Enlightened's bad. I think Enlightened's actually pretty good. Recurring like a 4, 2, or 7 is really strong.
Yeah. My only issue with it doesn't always give the anger. That's my biggest hang up on it. Otherwise, and you can play around it fairly. I think like it's just really, it's like slightly under the curve of like good to me. To me, it's still good.
Yeah,
like
sure.
the ball shuffle is really strong. That's the best part about it. And it's so stupid strong. Like I've had it played against me by really good people. Like Tommy Andre played it against me with Slug, and just fucking destroyed me. Because I got ball 2'd and 4'd and like 7'd of shitload. But
Right. Yeah. It's a really potent mastery when it goes off, but it's not as consistent as some of the other ones. Like Mischievous is super consistent, and Oppressive you have to build around, but you can make Oppressive really consistent. I think those two especially are really why they, and I'll throw Resolute in there as well, but I think those three have done so well in organized play because they can they create consistent like decks.
yeah, for sure.
Like as long as you stick to the required card pool that they sort of make you run.
Yeah, I think Inline to Piccolo Physical Beats is definitely one that's up there too. That one's. I think in general, I think the Masters have worked out good because they've gotten good support, and I do like the direction they're going. So, but we will hop back on. I love these conversations. I really am enjoying this kind of conversation. This is the kind of conversation I really like. But we do have to keep a little bit of the schedule here and there. So, Alex, what about you, my man? What do you think you could work on in your deck building?
I think my biggest issue with deck building is I enjoy playing a lot of different decks rather than the same decks over and over again. So I don't really polish a lot of the decks that I run. And I think I have a lot of cool things that if I put more effort and time into, they could actually become pretty good. But I just play I have probably over 100 decks in my folders, and I just play different ones every game. So it's hard for me to polish a deck unless there's 2 or 3 that I play a lot and try to get like tournament ready. But other than those, like just tons and tons of decks that I think could be good if I put time into them, but I don't, which I think I could work in that aspect. And also being greedy with the cards that I run. Like sometimes I'll run too many planning cards because I'm greedy for the effects, or I'll run not enough planning cards because I'm greedy for attacks, and it's kind of difficult to find the perfect line of those.
Come over to the endurance side, man. Let's come back to endurance.
It's always there for you. Just when you need it, showing up as like the last card.
Oh my god. No, I don't know. Alex, would you say that maybe like a lot of those need jump around just because I would argue that you started relatively late. If you started in Fanzy, I feel like there's just so much for you to explore. Do you think that's probably a lot of why you just kind of hop around a lot?
Yeah, I mean, I'm also that kind of a player when it comes to any video games, like Smash or League of Legends or any games that have a lot of characters. I tend to jump around characters a lot. I don't really like to be confined by one type of character, but I think the reason I make so many decks in this game is just because there's so many different things that you can do, and like you said, I haven't tried a lot of them out, so I just try to I just come up with stuff in my head, and I'm like, that might work, and I'll throw it into a deck, and then it just is really bad, and then I have to work at it for a while until it's okay.
You should just play Garlic again. Just give up. Just play Garlic.
Ascension Garlic Jr. That's my calling.
Oh man, Red Ball is so silly. My guilty pleasure deck that I really enjoyed. It was when I started doing the videos. Somebody suggested Red Nail. I made like Amp Nail Ball, and that has been like my guilty pleasure. I love that deck actually. It is so fun playing Nail. Oh my god.
I've been messing around with Knowledge Nail recently. I like it a lot actually. But it's not good, but I like it though.
So close to like something good.
Fancy Nail 1's so bomb. I love that card.
It is, yeah.
I've weirdly for me the best uses I got out of that level 1 is using it to get hit anger. I like.
Well, I guess in red, yeah.
I don't know. I
like the Namekian with targeted strike. It's just like, oh, I have a red bribe now. It feels good.
Yeah, I feel like I always draw the targeted strike on level 1 too. Like every game I play, last game I played with that deck, I targeted strike ball 3 into a targeted strike, ball 3 into another targeted strike. Like it's nuts.
What I like is I like all the ball bounce cards in Radiant with Earthball 3. I love it because you can set it up so well with like your early discards and stuff. I love Earthball 3. I used to do that with a Radiant Gohan and Friends deck I had. I loved that. Maybe I'll have to try that with Nail now. We'll see.
It probably won't be as good as Gohan.
Yeah. No. I think Nail's really close though. I think his 1 and 2s are just so awkward with each other. Like I like the theme of like the mill and the banish is cool, but we'll see. I really love his 3. His upper levels are really cool though. His 3 is really interesting, for sure. But
yeah, it's cool. The 2 is definitely the weakest.
Yeah, I think so. It's really good and it really sucks at the same time. So, but we will move on here to the next question, of course. So I'll let you guys choose who wants to go first for this one, but this is going to be kind of like the final question of the format. If we get into another conversation, I'll totally let it continue on. But we'll start. So what was a deck building win and a deck building fail? And so again, like deck building win, you made something on paper, you weren't sure it was going to work out, ended up being really good. And maybe a fail where like, hey, this deck should work, and then it doesn't work. Whoever wants to go first, I'll leave it up to you guys.
I'll take it,
Alex. Yeah.
Cool. So I think my biggest deck building win was definitely my Resourceful Vegeta, because the reason I built that deck was just because 2 of the people I play against the most play Oppressive, and I just got really angry playing against Oppressive all the time. So I figured a blue dominance, blue resourceful build with Majin Vegeta, you would just be able to turn off the skips, and then if you play against Oppressive, they just can't do anything against you. So I built it into that, and then it turned out to be really good because playing resourceful and then your opponent can't get out of a combat against you, and when you have like 20 attacks in your hand, it's pretty good. And just all the damage modifiers that you're able to access and getting access to King Vegeta in the physical beatdown matchup, it all meshed together really well, and I like that deck, the way it came out. My biggest fail on a deck was probably
anything not blue.
Yeah, I play a lot of blue. Probably I played Stan Raditz in OLT. That was a mistake. I don't think I built the deck poorly, though. I think I just didn't have enough experience on the deck. I actually lost to Tag Goku, which is literally like the best matchup for it, but I lost to it because I'm bad at the game, but it's okay. I'm just never playing Saiyan Mill Raditz ever again. Some people are good at it, but it's not for me.
Yeah, I liked the deck in like set 3, and then I never really got back to it, but I always knew it was good. And then I ended up getting slapped by that deck first year of Fancy stuff at Gen Con Timbato.
Oh, Bateau, yeah. He was tearing people up with that deck.
Oh, that was rough. It was really hard to play that one because I was just like I went really hard on him, and then he's like, oh, 1 unleashed, and I even speared and unleashed, and he just unleashed a 4. And I'm supposed to go on. He just cleans out like 40 cards in my deck, and I thought I was over. And
that's actually what I lost to in top either 8 or 4. I can't remember for Alabama this year. Guy was piloting the Saiyan Raditz, and I was just so happy to see that deck because I love that deck. And then we played like round 1, and he like enters and unleashes, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, fuck. So then I was like, oh, I have Blue Terror in my hand. Like, there's no way he's gonna have another unleash, so let me just go grab a confrontation so I can get like some damage in. And so I go grab it, and then he unleashes again, and I'm like, oh god. So he was level 4 Raditz like immediately, like first combat.
God.
And well, I didn't win. So.
Even with Halt in your deck, what the heck, man?
Yeah, it was between like I was gonna go for Halt or for or for confrontation. It was between the two, but it was literally like the first turn. There's no board presence. Like I can't put him on. He's seen 3 cards. I can't put him on 2 unleashed. That would be like just like a.
Yeah.
I'd be playing scared doing that. I don't like playing scared.
That's funny.
So it's like I think my other attack was like maybe OP attack. It was like terror, garbage. OP attack was my opening, so I actually had a chance to get some hits in early.
Yeah.
And
that sucks. Oh yeah, that deck's always gonna be nasty. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just waiting for like I've always loved blue training, so I'm just waiting for my good blue training deck. I've had a couple that I really liked, but I never.
Yeah, there's been some solid training builds.
Yeah, I liked 17, but then I always would like actually play the deck completely.
Yeah.
I would like misread I always end up taking a break from the deck. I misread 17's Van, so I play it incorrectly, and then I win a bunch of games with it incorrectly playing it. Then I reread the card. I'm like, fuck, I've been playing 17's Van wrong. It's just.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
I like Hercule blue training. I think it's okay, but
I have not seen that. I don't think, unless you played against me. You or Eric might have played that against me.
I was trying out a blue protective Hercule. Oh, that might actually be my biggest deck fail. Is I was trying out blue protective Hercule for a while with blue dominance camp 2, and then I played like 3 games, and then someone's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, you can't use drills on your level 2."
Oh,
So the deck just doesn't work at all. And I have like 7 drills on the board, and I'm level 2, and they just don't work. I still won the game though, which was surprising, but yeah, that was a rough one.
Oh man. What about you, Joey? What was a good a deck building win, a deck building fail?
I guess I would have to go. I mean, since I didn't get to really play during Pansy because I was working on it and we couldn't play an OP for it. It's not something I could really, I guess, grade out. I guess I'll have to look at decks like in testing because Fansy's only been around for so many sets. So I'll try to take from the bigger sample size, I guess. So I guess my fail would probably be set 2 Saiyan Vegeta, which was actually doing really good in testing until people started running like 3 wall breakers.
Oh,
and then the deck just ran into a fucking wall and was like, oh, my deck turned off. And it's like, yeah,
dude,
sure did.
Fucking, I was so bummed.
Like, if wall breaker would have been a set 3 card, I think set 2 Saiyan Vegeta could have been really.
It was good. It
wasn't like I don't think it's dethroning like the other decks, but it could have competed with them. It could have been in a spot where like Orange Goku was, where it was like tier 2, but it was like a good tier 2 that had matchups like good against certain tier 1 decks.
Yeah, I think Red Vegeta too. I loved Enraged Vegeta and Empowered Vegeta, those first 3 sets.
Yeah.
Especially. I liked the Empowered one more in set 3 because you had Backbreaker. And you had Sagacious Strike.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to garnish value.
Yeah, it was a fun time. But that was pretty good.
Yeah, so I guess that's the fail because like the deck was running really well, and then like the testing decks were going to like 3 wall breakers, and it's like, oh god, what happened? Win probably early set, Ruthless Turles like in testing, and then I know a friend of mine got top 4 with it at my buddy Vinny DeLuca. He got top 4 with the one that we sort of played in our little locals that we play in, and that was in set 5 or set 6. Whenever Cell was really big, like the Cell Saiyans, like right after Cell Errata.
Yeah.
Like, and he ran through like some of the better, like best players like there were. And he got top 4 with it just to lose to like his best possible matchup.
Oh man.
Like a Red Roshi balled out on him in like 2 turns, and I'm like, well, you should never lose that match. Like Red Turles is literally viable because Red Roshi's so good.
Yeah, no. Yeah, Red Turles was a fun one for sure. I definitely enjoyed that deck quite a bit.
Yeah, the fact that my buddy got top 4 with it in like a sea of Cells, Piccolos, and fucking Roshi is pretty impressive.
definitely a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it was like a ton of Namekian and Saiyan Cell at that event, and I think Charles was just punching through all of them.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I have to since I have you here, dude. Man, how the hell, like Wallbreaker? Did you guys have like a good count? Like I thought originally wasn't Energy Toss or sorry, what was it? Focus Assault was originally a black card, wasn't it? And then got changed to Freestyle last second.
It's hard to remember like all the early changes, but I know. I don't think Wallbreaker was in the initial set list. I think it was something that evolved, like a card evolved into Wallbreaker. And I think Focus Blast sort of devolved from something. Like, Focus Blast was a different card, and then Focus Blast, I think, as a counter to Wallbreaker, yeah, sorry, lost my train of thought. As a counter to Wallbreaker, it sort of got turned into what it became. And I forgot, maybe Vegeta's why it was series only. I can't remember the exact sequence of how it all played out. It's been years now, but
yeah. No, I was so bummed, man. I was like an avid, like I only played like Vegeta. I didn't like playing Krillin or Piccolo, but I played the crap out of like same Vegeta, Red Vegeta, and then I would play Goku adaptive.
yeah, I played a ton of Goku adaptive in the first 3 sets.
Blue Piccolo too. I liked Blue Piccolo a lot, actually.
Dominance Piccolo.
That was yeah. I played it pre-Dominance. I think think by the time Dominance came out, I switched over to Frieza, Golden Frieza.
Pre-Dominance, I liked Piccolo, and Black. After Dominance, I liked the blue build, at least for that kind of deck that it was.
Oh, they're both. It was fun playing it. Just sitting there,
sure.
mill hill, block everything.
Position. Yeah, that's why I played the Orange Goku so early on. I thought it was just a really strong tier 2 deck, and the fact that I could take games from like the Krillin Piccolo Ginyus was really nice. Like Hiding Troll did a ton of work against all those decks. So.
Orange Staredown was really good too.
Yeah, Orange Staredown was super good.
Yeah, that's still a good card.
Oh yeah, it's hard to make like banish removal a bad card.
Yeah,
even though people always shit on poor Blue Betrayal when it's like the best one of the bunch, at least in my opinion, because there's no cost associated with it.
Yeah, not having to pay stages. I was a Blue Wheeler player, so not having to pay stages for it, but it also doing no damage sucked. But worst case scenario was a pitch.
Just look at it as like a non-spherable event essentially.
Yeah,
to take place, you would probably play like a version, like a card that was an event that couldn't be sphered.
And it does do damage too.
Yeah, and depending on what you play, it does damage. But
yeah, I don't know.
It's always live, so you're never in a situation where you're like locked and you're like, oh my god, I need to kill this freaking planning step card. Good old Blue Betrayal is always there for you.
Yeah, I think it's one of those cards. I think it's almost always a 3 of in any blue deck because it's hate.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Unless Alex, Mr. Blue Man.
Nope. 3 of every deck.
Yeah.
Every single one.
Alex knows if he doesn't, I'll just start throwing stuff at him.
Yeah. Joey.
I can't remember the last time I threw stuff at you because of something. I can't remember.
Like
I don't remember what you were trying to build. Yeah. That's the only reaction I can actually have. I don't remember what it was. It might have been Blue Deterrence. Like, maybe you were running Blue Deterrence and not running Blue Brace or something. And I just, like, fucking snapped.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't running Blue Brace.
That's what it was.
In Restorseful Vegeta, you were like...
You were at, like, 12 setup attacks, and there was no Blue Brace, and I had an aneurysm.
Oh, my God. That's great.
That was the first stage of the deck, man. Come on. I had to think a little bit.
So you two both play locally, don't you? Or
yeah, we go to the same local shop.
Okay, right on. So Alex, how did you get into the game anyway?
So actually, me and my friends started playing like set 2, like right when set 2 came out, and we were really bad, super casuals. Like we just bought like 10 packs each, opened it up, made the best deck we could. And we played for a while, and then one day we were at the shop, and we saw Brad there, and it was like right when Fan Z was coming out, and Brad introduced us to Joey, and then me and my roommate John just started playing, and then ever since, we just kept up with it, and I've just been going to the shop, playing games, got my ass kicked a whole bunch, learned, and then I started to get to the point where I kicked other people's ass sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I actually did not beat Joey for like probably the first 6 months that I played the game. Every single time I played him, he whooped my ass. Wasn't even close.
What was
And I was like
what was the
the
first
best
guy
in
you
my-
played in? Where
South Kai. I played Radiant Kami, yeah.
that turn one entered with like one card or something.
Oh, he
Black TN.
on stream, he was playing TN and he drew Smoothness Drill. What's the attack that stays in play to be used again?
Smoothness
Tri-beam.
Tri-beam, like blank, like nothing.
No, it was Smoothness Drill, Tri-beam. And
I got
you
the
entered
second
on me.
Tri-beam off of TN.
No, it was 3. I blocked one.
Shit.
I blocked one, but you hit me with 2. And then you milled into 2 of those cards that do 5 life, unpreventable if I have no cards in my hand.
Double team.
Yep, he drew 2 double teams off of those. I took like 40 life off of the first combat, and then he just killed me next turn.
Oh my god.
That was a sad game.
I love TN so much.
I used to love. I was a big fan of him in set 2, and like the first into like set 5, 6. I have not like touched him at all in Fantasy. I never.
He's so much fun in Fantasy with like Solar Flare is so undervalued.
Fucking Solar Flare is so annoying. I'm a future Gohan player, and Solar Flare is annoying. So, that's okay. And I love Saint Energy Focus. That was like, we'll get back to the Wallbreaker. Saint Energy Focus is one of the few cards that beat Wallbreaker in set 2. But
you had to run it in the Vegeta deck.
Yeah, that was the whole reason I ran it. That and Black Searching Technique was just, or Power Up and Searching Technique. More Power Up was just a fucking bastard card.
Yeah, Power Up's pretty strong.
Still annoying.
Still super good, but like as a set 1 card, like
it's not so bad now. I think
really strong. No, I think the game's caught up with a lot of like what some of the better decks were doing.
Even the decks that in combat like that have like 8 or 9 combat unders.
We implemented a lot of.
There's a lot of counters to them.
Yeah, I just camped 2 on Majin Vegeta.
Yeah,
just cancel it.
I think Vegeta's because there's level 2. He's always going to be relevant.
Yeah, it's impossible to make that stack. Like
he's a future-proof MP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a few like that out there. Like I think Gohan's pretty feature-proof. He can only get better.
Yeah.
Supreme Kai, Goku. It's probably the ones I guess. Yeah, that's probably the ones I would throw into that. I
think they're always going to be very competitive MPs, just purely because of the value that they have.
Probably Knowledge Piccolo too. It's always going to be good.
Yeah, we're saying more like
more focused on like a specific stat or something.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, Piccolo's I think always going to be
relevant.
Yeah, I think he's for what he's got now. I think with the three stacks that he has, I mean, granted, we don't know what's coming out entirely next set, but I mean, I don't think that he really needs another stack anytime soon. I think what he's got is good enough. I think he's got some. If anything, it's just going to come down to like just some support cards, in the sense of traded and maybe a named card. That's where I see him. But I think he's in a great spot. I think I'll say this. I think a lot of the MPs in this game in general, and a lot of the styles and the archetypes are all in good spots. And I think I did do a set review, and my conclusion that I came to at the end of the set review was, I liked the direction of this last set, and I do see some of the themes that are coming upon with the Masteries potentially.
Yeah, we tried to put a little into the set that was going into like the skeleton of the next set.
Yeah.
To try and get ahead, like, because I was really happy with like where the block for set 10 ended up, and since we're moving it essentially into a new block with new masteries, we tried to get a little more like work in on the last set of the block going into the new block, so people would have somewhat of an idea of the masteries that were coming, and also it just gives us a little more time to it, so maybe archetypes will be fully fleshed out by like the middle set instead of the end set. If that makes sense.
Do you feel like there was maybe do you think there was maybe a mastery or something that you wish you gave some more support for before this next set? Like for one of them, like maybe like you wish that you gave them
like the
more
fancy ones or just masteries in general.
We'll just say the fancy ones. Keep it simple. Do you think there's
I
one?
think we achieved. I think we achieved what we could in this last set. Like, I'm pretty happy with like some of like the Enlightened / Namekian support that we were able to put in. Some of the red support we were able to put in to like sort of flesh it out. I was pretty happy with what we got combative wise early on, so it didn't quite need it. Like certain masteries, I'll say like, let's say Orange and Saiyan and Blue, for example. I was really happy with what we got out of those in 10 and 11. So we had more room in 12 to lead into the next generation of masteries.
Yeah.
Where decks more so like the Namekian, let's say Red, got more sort of piled into the set 10 block with their card pool versus the 13 block.
Yeah, definitely with those like discard effect cards and the physical attacks and top deck stuff, like Same Direct Strike, I think it's called, right? That one's fantastic card with Enlightened Mastery.
Sure. Right. Yeah. Like there's I'm pretty happy, honestly, with where all the styles from the first wave of Fantasy Masteries ended up with after the 3-set block. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with where we went with it. I think each style got in general enough support to have viability with those masteries. So that's sort of the goal you set out for with it.
For sure.
Especially because we're only doing 5 style cards per set. So and 15 style cards, being able to flush out like different gameplay paths with those masteries is a success in our book.
Now, is it, if it's not too much, is the next set going to be like the same size? I thought I saw something that's not going to be like the full size for like style count or something like this.
No, it's the same. It's the same as always. Set 10's a good example of what to expect from the
okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, core sets are always going to be that heavier on the numbers, so you're looking at a mastery for each style, probably 5 styled cards per style, at least 1 trait card per trait probably. Whether or not that gets wrapped into freestyle or styled cards, is yet to be determined.
Sure.
New personalities to pair relatively, quote unquote, pair with the masteries, because you don't really need to when we're not selling starter decks to anyone. They can be more generically good MPs than linked to a specific style. Whereas some of them still will feel like, linked to a new master in case they have to push an archetype.
Yeah. I'm really curious to see what Namekian's doing, for sure. And maybe Red, I don't know. Like Saiyan and Namekian, it's mostly Saiyan and Namekian because of the limited MPs, and also just because of like it's mostly how Anger is treated with those 2 styles is where I'm curious going forward.
Well, Saiyan will get at least 3 personalities for the set. Namekian gets at least 1, if not 2, depending where the selection ends up. But because Gohan counts as both. Gohan's confirmed in the set.
I'm really hoping something was. I really just want like, even if I have to do it on Octagon, damn it, I just want like an art of like Gohan Saiyaman on the stack. If I can have anything for anything.
Saiyaman's probably my favorite version of Gohan. It just didn't work out like with the set selection and character selection for the images. Like I made sure to fit in the Gohan ally in the Saiyaman outfit when we could.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, because that is actually, I played that, so.
Yeah, I ran that on my Goten, so.
Yeah, it's pretty damn good, but. Yeah, no, for me, design-wise, it's more just like, how is, if Namekian and Saiyan are going to be getting Anger, how they're going to do with those masteries, but that's a different conversation, I suppose, for a different time, but that's what I'm curious. That's what I'm personally curious about, but. Not entirely related to this video, of course. But anyway.
Well, that's one of the good things about stuff like traits and additional restrictions to the cards. If there's a deck where anger gain in those 2 styles is too prevalent, we can say Gohan gets too much out of the anger. You can always go with a card that has X amount of traits or less. Piccolo gets it X amount of traits or more. if one of the god characters gets it, then it's like, oh, if your MP does not have the god trait. So it opens up a lot of freedom in design, especially because, Fantasy is sort of a passion project. We're not exactly getting paid to dedicate time towards it. So traits have done a whole bunch for being able to create powerful cards with restrictions on them.
Mm-hmm.
How you doing, Alex?
I'm doing great. I'm just listening.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I like all this.
It's cool to get some insight on how the card creation process works as a player. Like to see how a dev thinks. It's just different way of thinking.
For sure.
I mean, I think everyone that's working on it now, we know our limitations and sort of restrictions and what we can do with our availability to put out the best product we can without, affecting our lives too much. And traits are big for it. Focusing in on masteries with limited card pool is big on it. But I know we're all pretty happy with what we've been able to put out each set. So.
No, I definitely enjoyed Fantasy quite a bit. So I mean, hey, I got to play Wheelo, and he's not terrible. So
You got a new card this set.
Yeah, I've been trying to run him with Black Recovery, and it's just so. At least how I've been playing him, he's goofy, but I do like that card in the Perceptive builds. Maybe I have to give Perceptive some more time. I also just didn't want to play him too much. I've played so much Wheelo, I wanted to move on to some other stuff, but
can't leave him behind.
Yeah.
Poor little Wheelo.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely get back to him. I have some stuff. I have some more stuff that I haven't tried with him, so.
You played Tau with it. Tau's pretty fun with it.
Tau is... I love Tau, but damn, that deck is just... Dude, when Deflect Stroke came out, my heart sank, because it's... I had selected Tau for Martial Arts Tournament. Deflect Stroke comes out. That set that is then legal for World Martial Arts Tournament. Everyone throws Deflection Drill in their fucking deck, and I just got destroyed. Everyone was running Deflection, and I think the one person that played that was not a Deflection Drill user was Android 13. And he gets 15 right off the bat first turn. I'm just like, this game is over before it began. I'm just not doing anything. But, I don't know. Well, anyway, guys, I really appreciate it. This has been a lot of fun. I could definitely go on about this stuff forever, but we definitely spent a good portion of this video being off topic. But I think anybody, if you guys do watch the end of this video, you'll really enjoy it. There's some good insights, both from Joey and Alex, about deck building, some of the card design stuff. Maybe something that you can kind of look forward to. You can theory craft with some of this upcoming stuff that we might be having. I think the biggest keys are ultimately what we've already seen start to be released in the direction we've seen. And the few styles that Joey mentioned is something I think we're all going to look forward to. And anyway, I hope hope you guys enjoyed this, because I had a lot of fun too.
Yeah, I did too. Thanks for having me. It was a good time.
Yeah, it's always nice to get on and talk Z, so thanks for having me as well.
Yeah, man. I would love to definitely have some more conversations at some point. They might just happen over Messenger or something, but like I said, guys, appreciate it.
For sure.
No problem. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Yeah, man. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. Everyone, take it easy, and peace.